Hello and welcome back to Football Daily, where today, on the eve of the Premier League's return, we're profiling the stars who could change their club's fortunes over the last 10 games. 10. Kieran Tierney. It's no secret that Arsenal's defence has been their downfall this season. Under Unai Emery, the team's rearguard had conceded more goals than 11 other Premier League sides, and when Arteta took over, he pulled back the forwards to help out the backline, with the Gunners going from the 11th best attack to 13th in his time in charge. And there's a particular weakness on the left, with Kolasinac, Saka and even the now departed Monreal seeing more minutes than the £25 million signing Kieran Tierney, thanks to groin and shoulder injuries. As good as Saka has been as an 18-year-old playing out of position, he is still learning the role, and as a result only Watford and Man United have conceded a higher proportion of attacks down their left-hand side. Saka's background as a winger hasn't made the Gunners' left flank more impressive in attack either, with more of their shots coming from moves down the right. So Tierney should add something in both directions, with 2 assists in the 4 Europa League games he's played this season, as well as pressing more than any defender in the Gunners' squad in his limited time in the Prem. Now fully fit after the league's extended hiatus, the 22-year-old's energy could be a key factor as Arsenal tried to claw their way back from 9th to the Champions League. 9. Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Before we move on to our next section, just a quick reminder to subscribe to Football Daily and hit that notification bell to never miss one of our top 10s. The 2019-20 campaign has been a rough one for Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Sidelined for 9 months with an Achilles rupture, the midfielder was close to a return to action when the league was suspended, meaning that at the age of 24, Loftus-Cheek has just 70 top-flight appearances to his name, around 20 fewer than West Ham's Declan Rice, who is 3 years younger than him. However, the England international is well placed to make a contribution on his return, with Chelsea's midfield in need of an attacking boost. Kante, Kovacic and Jorginho have just 4 open play goals between them in the league, and take around 2.5 shots a game combined, while last season Loftus-Cheek took 2.6 a game and netted 6 times in just 6 Premier League starts. Silky smooth on the ball too, the youngsters' 3.7 dribbles a match in 2018-19 would top every Blues attacker this campaign, while his 6'3" frame should add some heft to a team reliant on smaller players like Willian, Mount and Pulisic. With 5 points between them and 6th and fixtures against Liverpool, Wolves, Leicester and Sheffield United left to go, a strong return from Loftus-Cheek could quickly wrap up a Champions League spot for Frank Lampard's men. 8. Chris Wood. Sean Dyche may seem like he'd be the last manager to care about advanced stats in football, but if he knew what the numbers say about his team this year, maybe he'd change his mind. By expected points, Burnley are the 9th best side in the league, and should have 6 goals more than the 34 they've actually netted, with the chief culprit for that underperformance being New Zealand target man Chris Wood. Only 5 players have racked up more than Wood's 14 expected goals in the Prem this season: Salah, Firmino, Rashford, Aguero and Gabby Jesus. But the striker has only found the net 11 times. And given that historically Wood has been a strong finisher, it's likely that he's due an explosion once the league returns, especially as the Clarets face 4 of the bottom 6 teams in the table, as well as Crystal Palace in their 9 remaining fixtures. But even when he isn't finishing well, Wood is a problem for defences. He's 7th in the league for aerial duels contested per game and presses hard too, running down defenders in the final third as often as Bobby Firmino. Powerful, relentless and hugely underrated, back Chris Wood to end the year on a high. 7. Roberto Firmino. If Chris Wood is due an explosion, Roberto Firmino is set to go supernova in the closing weeks of the season. The Brazilian may be about to pick up a Premier League winners medal, but he has had an unbelievably unlucky campaign in front of goal, scoring only 8 and assisting 7 for 15 goal involvements, while expected goals indicates he should have closer to 22, and trail only teammate Mo Salah in the scoring charts. In reality, 18 players have outscored the former Hoffenheim man, while 3 other Liverpool stars can match his assist tally, and so the fans have to focus on other aspects of his game to show his greatness. Fortunately, there's plenty to like. Only Oxlade-Chamberlain and Henderson press more than Firmino among the Red squad, and his closing down helps Klopp's team win the ball back nearly 7 times a game, making him one of the most effective pressers in the Premier League. Due to turn 29 later this year, Firmino's days as a relentless worker in the Liverpool frontline are probably numbered. But if he never gets the goal tally his stats suggest he deserves, he'll be able to console himself with the title and a Champions League. 6. Diogo Jota. For some, the league suspension came at the perfect time. For others, it came just as they were hitting their stride. Diogo Jota is firmly in the latter camp, having scored and assisted 4 goals in his last 3 matches before the break, in the process more than doubling his total for the season and ending a run of 8 league games without a goal involvement, stretching back to December. While 7 goals and assists seems like a big step back from last year when he got 14, Jota only had 9 after 29 games in 18-19 and put together a strong end to the season, and there's reason to think he'll do it again. The 23-year-old is creating more chances than he did last term and has gone from around 2 shots a game to nearly 3, as well as doing more defensive work and dribbling more than ever, with his 2.8 take-ons completed per 90 the best in the Wolves squad, outside Adama Traore's otherworldly 6. For all the attention showered on Raul Jimenez, it's Jota who is likely to earn a big money move away from the Midlands at some point, though the lack of cash flow in the market is likely to keep him at Molineux for this summer at least. With the traditional big sides struggling, Wolves will hope he can power them to an unlikely Champions League berth first. 5. Neal Maupay. Going into the last 9 games, the relegation strugglers have been whittled down to 6, with a 5-point gap between 15th place Brighton and Southampton in 14th. However, the Seagulls will consider themselves unlucky to be placed so low, with a goal difference better than 3 of the sides above them and a points tally of 29. 9 worse than expected points would suggest they merit. Graham Potter has crafted one of the most attractive teams in the lower half, with the 6th most possession in the league, ahead of Spurs and Man United. They also rank 7th in the division for shots per game, and of their 13, 3.4 come from the boot of Neal Maupay, who has already netted 11 in his maiden season in the top flight. With 2.5 of those efforts coming from inside the box each match, Maupay gets as many shots from the danger zone as his 4 next best teammates, and he's the only Brighton man to tally over 0.5 expected goals and assists per 90, sitting close to Dele Alli and Anthony Martial by that metric. At 23 and costing only £20 million, Maupay is one of the bargains of the season, and if Brighton can beat the drop, 2020-21 could be a breakout year for the young Frenchman. 4. Leroy Sane. It's ironic that the most talked about City players this season have been the ones who have spent least time on the pitch. The Citizens' defensive problems have largely been attributed to the absence of Aymeric Laporte, and the saga of Leroy Sané's mooted switch to Bayern Munich has trundled on for nearly a year, during which the German has made just 1 appearance in the 2019 Community Shield. Sane was nearing fitness when the league was suspended, and while he's likely to be rusty on his return, the extra 3 months of lockdown should have benefited the 24-year-old. And it's easy to forget just how good he can be. Last season he scored 10 and assisted 10 in the Prem, while the year before it was a combined 25, in both campaigns trailing only Aguero and Sterling for goal contributions. His exceptional pace and skill make him the best dribbler at the club, and his directness should give Guardiola a different way of playing, with Mahrez cooling off after a hot start to the season and Bernardo Silva having a quiet 12 months. With Bayern and City yet to settle on a fee, Sane is sure to be motivated to impress over the final weeks of the campaign. 3. Harvey Barnes. With 19 goals to date this season, you'd be forgiven for thinking Jamie Vardy would be Leicester's key man in the run-in, but since Christmas, the Fox's outstanding attacker has been Harvey Barnes. Since January the 1st, only Aguero and Salah have been involved in more league goals than the wide man's 6, with Vardy far behind on just 3. And at 22 years old, there's clearly more to come from the Englishman. In fact, Barnes has 6 league goals this campaign, only bettered by Rashford and Abraham among under-23s, and 6 assists, second only to Trent in his age group, showing an admirable all-round game. In a strong season for almost every Leicester player, Barnes ranks first in the squad for both shots and chances created, and second to Ricardo Pereira for dribbles completed, despite only having been a regular in the top flight for a year, suggesting that with time and experience, he could become truly exceptional. As much as he deserves attention, Barnes is unlikely to even make the shortlist for the PFA Young Player of the Year award. And with rumours swirling around Ndidi, Soyuncu, Maddison and Chilwell, Leicester might be glad to see this particular weapon remain secret. 2. Bruno Fernandes. With Man United in 5th, the Champions League spot this year thanks to City's ban from the competition, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be keen to prove his doubters wrong with a strong finish to the campaign. And though the Red Devils can consider themselves unlucky to spend much of the season without Paul Pogba and Marcus Rashford, they were fortunate that £47 million signing Bruno Fernandes hit the ground running in the absence of the 2 stars. In just 450 league minutes, the Portuguese has scored 2 and assisted 3 so far. And while he's benefited from bad goalkeeping and clinical teammates in doing so, with expected goals suggesting he should have around 2 goal involvements, his rate of 0.5 xG per game is nonetheless excellent, putting him on par with Harry Kane and Nicola Pepe. In the United squad, only Rashford and Martial have contributed more in attack, and Bruno is pulling his weight defensively too, winning the ball back 3 times a game, not far off Matic's numbers. Pogba may be back for the run-in, but with Bruno in this form and already popular with the fans, Solskjaer may not want to upset the balance of his team by trying to get the World Cup winner back into the lineup. 1. Heung-Min Son. For the first time since 2014, Harry Kane has not been Tottenham's star attacker this season. The Englishman's persistent injury woes limited him to just 11 goals and 2 assists before the league was suspended. And believe it or not, Heung-Min Son has actually played fewer minutes in the Prem at the time of writing, and yet boasts 16 goal involvements to Kane's 13. That means that Son contributes to a goal every 109 minutes, and Tottenham will be relieved to go into the final 10 games of the season with the South Korean fully fit, after a broken arm sidelined him in February. At that point, a run at centre forward had seen Son score 6 goals in 5 games, and he now takes more shots each match than anyone else in the squad, as well as leading his team in assists with 7, and managing 2.5 dribbles per 90, the highest tally of his half-decade in the English game. Perhaps the Prem's best example of pace and power, Son is unsurprisingly one of the few players to escape the criticism of Jose Mourinho so far. And with Spurs just 4 points off a Champions League spot, and games against Arsenal, Man United and Leicester yet to come, he could yet save their season. So guys, that was 10 players to watch when the Premier League returns. What did you guys think of the rundown? Did we miss anyone out? And how excited are you about the resumption? Let us know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you next time. Bye!